Is it time to let Tupac and the notorious B.I.G. go? B, what stemmed this topic? Even though I agree with it.
So sometimes I listen to people and they talk about their top fives, their top tens, and we look back and we go to the history of hip hop and we look at those albums. What albums was like the best albums? You know what I'm saying? And they continue to live on through like our older listeners, the people is there from you know, its birth. So they're gonna hold some things dear to their heart. So, like you said, I know you said you mentioned it before because me and you talked about why is Biggie still in people's top five, or like, is it time to make room for others? And I was like, I think I came around to that thought, B. So when we say is it time to let Tupac and Biggie go, we're not saying that erase them from the history books or not have them in your personal top five or top 10. I just think that it gets to a point where now you can't really criticize anyone heavily, too heavily, because they don't have these two in their in a top 10 or top five discussions. Because as you guys are getting older, hip hop is getting older, meaning we have more artists, you know, adding and putting their foot, you know what I'm saying, putting a step on the game. And like Biggie died in 97. Tupac died in 96. I was two when Pac died. I was three when Biggie died. B, you was born what? A year before he died. Tupac died. So like we was kids. We I feel like these are the only two artists that is mentioned more than any other artist that left us, unfortunately. Yes, Biggie was a big artist. Tupac was too. They had the whole West Coast beef, East Coast beef. I understand it. But we gotta understand it's the
I'm
past,
waiting for you
bro.
to cook.
The
Ah!
fu- the future is now, old man. It's time. Damn, I don't want to. I almost said something very disrespectful that I'm not gonna say, because I would never disrespect Biggie and Pac. But you gotta understand, we gotta make room in these top five, top 10, and top five conversations. B. We got Kendrick now. You got J. Cole. I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I'm saying for me.
Unfortunately, J. Cole got more. He got more skin in the game. B. Kendrick got more skin in the game. We got other. Drake got more skin in the game. I just think that we just gotta sometimes just pass the batons. And I know we want to hold on to their legacy, B, but I think it's time to just let them go. It's time to let them go, B.
I think it's time for me to cook. I've
Go ahead
been
and cook them,
saying
B.
this. So look, growing up, whenever you would ask someone my age, who's your favorite rapper? Instantly Biggie, instantly Tupac. People my age, I was born in 95, still having debates on who was better, Tupac versus Biggie. Me personally, I said that it's unfair because Tupac has way more music and skin in the game versus
Hmm.
Biggie, who only had one album before he died, even though Life After Death, he finished that before he died. Uh, it was unfair, even though Biggie is the better rapper. Um, to me, it was always like a weird thing where people would always use these two as their favorites. And I'm not saying that they were the worst people I've ever heard or anything like that, but I'm just like, why don't y'all like people like of now? Why don't y'all hold these people up of now that we're coming up with? Like, I understand if an older head has Biggie and Tupac in their top five, they came up with these artists. Understandable. But see, I'm more than thinking of where Tyler the Creator was in those interviews, and he spoke for people like me. He was like, why is Biggie, why is Tupac, why is like the Illmatics and all that stuff in your top five? Like, why is the stuff that you grew up with in your top
Hmm.
five? And I'm like, I completely agree. I say it all the time on this platform. There's albums I have in my top five that ain't from the 90s. Like my stuff is like from the 2000s, like 2008 and up probably. But to go back to the topic itself, I think it's time to let them go. Because B, think
Hmm.
about it like this. Mario is one of the greatest games ever, probably, or whatever, or at least
Hmm.
most recognizable. Sonic is too. But when it comes to like stuff that paves the way, it's not supposed to either regress or be stuck in that. It's supposed to progress. It's supposed to elevate from that. It's supposed to take what this thing did and do it better, modernize it, move on from this. Like, it's like, yes, this is a building block, but you're supposed to build upon it, not just stay stuck on this. Like I said, I understand if older heads have Tupac and Biggie in their top fives. Understandable. You came up with them. That's your generation. I understand. I'm not saying you can't. But every single body, we can't. It's hard to have objective conversations when you try and talk to someone who has these people up in their top fives. But it's like, okay, me, I got Big Crit in my top five. People, but he ain't do this, he ain't do that. Man,
He ain't
so
got the
he got
numbers.
exactly. So he got more albums. He has longer longevity, only because no untimely demise. For me, I always thought it was unfair to like rank these artists as some of the best artists because they haven't moved on with the times. I told you before, B, I can rank a Jay-Z as number one because he was during that era and he's still reigning in this era.
Mhm.
Kind of, if especially if he were to drop an album, right? Nas also, boom. Common also, boom. Rappers from the 90s that are still alive, that are still making music, boom. Yes, I'm putting them up there as all-time great. Scarface, boom. Yes, I could do that for these artists. These are the exceptional artists because one, they are exceptional artists, but two, they made music back then. You've seen the progression in what they've done now. A lot of people, when they put Biggie and Tupac as their top fives, and especially if they didn't come up with the times, they always do these what ifs or like what could have been. Like, no, you can't do that. That's not fair. B, that's not
Because look,
fair.
we didn't even get to see Tupac and Biggie go through, they down period. Like I said, Tupac could be freaking acting in Tyler Perry movies. You know what I'm saying? Biggie could be a spokesman for Donald Trump right now. Some y'all just never know. Y'all probably hate Biggie right now. I hate to say this stuff, but y'all gotta understand that y'all guys only had like 5 years with these artists. Think about that, B. A 5 year capsule. It's just so much out there. Without Tupac, yes, we don't get a Kendrick Lamar. They did the influences. Without Biggie, you won't get a bunch of MCs. I was
Mhm.
watching a Method Man interview one time, and this was funny to me. This was I don't know who asked him this question. They said, "What did you learn from working with Biggie?" He looked over and was like, "What you think he learned working with me?"
I like that. I like that. Because
Because it's
back then it
like,
was
yeah,
competitive. A lot of artists, they
yeah,
like to suck the meats of like, oh yeah, they was
yeah,
the best to ever do it.
yeah. Because yes, they passed away, and you don't want to speak no ill will. We're not speaking ill will on these guys. Please don't
Yeah,
turn our words
goats. They're
around.
goats. They're
Yeah, they
they're some
goats.
of the
We
greatest
understand
ever.
that.
Jerseys
But
in the rafters.
what we saying is like, you can't tell me, you can't tell me, bro. Kendrick Lamar is not a better artist than Tupac.
Oh,
You can't tell me
oh, V. Go ahead, say it. Say it, V.
some people agree with this, I think. You can't tell me Jay-Z not a better rapper than Biggie. I'm just saying. Even though I know
B.
they rap together. Biggie got him on some stuff, but Jay was there. Jay got him on some stuff. I'm sorry. I'm only saying this because I don't have much Biggie no more. And I know it's a standard of saying, yo, what Biggie was doing, people can't do now. But I'm like, it's stuff that people doing now that Biggie didn't show that he could do. You can't tell me MF Doom ain't rapping better than Biggie. You can't tell me Black Thought ain't rapping better than Biggie. You can't tell me Lupe Fiasco ain't rapping better than Biggie. Like, you gotta understand, it's levels to this stuff. What Biggie did when they mixed the soulful, the samples with Pac did, and Biggie had the marketing of like being the big man, ladies man as well, and also rapping. Yes, he had some stuff. He the punchlines, he had a really great voice and all this, blah, blah, blah. We didn't get to see him flourish even more, but I'm just saying that's why I can't keep having Biggie in these top five conversations, these top 10 conversations as an overall. Yes, I understand if you have them in your personal, but if I see a freaking list and I'm seeing these people that don't, you, it's like, what did, okay, Ready to Die is amazing.
Of course.
Amazing album.
Of
I
course.
love that album. Life After Death, amazing. But you gotta
Of course.
understand, guys, it's
Uh-oh.
so much other stuff out there. B, we didn't get to get a 4-4 for Biggie. I feel like it's best to judge these people overall on the growth, the longevity, the ups, the downs, and then we can kind of like get a really good critique. I feel like Biggie and Pac should be in a list of their own. Like just put them to the side because we didn't get that much from them. We didn't get to see them grow. It's niggas still looking up to Tupac, and this nigga was like 25 when he died. I don't even look for a 25-year-old for any advice, nigga. I'm just saying they were young and they look at these people like they gods. You outgrown them, my
B.
god. You outgrown
Revolutionaries
them,
though,
bro.
B.
B, you outgrown these people, man. You gotta understand, Pac brain didn't even get to fully develop. Some of these thoughts and all y'all want to bring up the philosophies and blah blah blah. How he was thinking, yes, people came from the Black Panther era. He was in there, but it's like y'all understand this nigga could have grown. Like Pac probably could be more on the left or like not more of a radical. He was a young man. That's one thing I really hate how people be looking up to these guys too. Be like they I don't know, man. Let me stop, bro. I'm gonna say something disrespectful
This is how
to
I feel,
not
B.
to Pac and Biggie, but to like some of these people out here that holds these guys up to this super high standard.
Me personally, I've always been anti old head because old heads will act like there's nothing better than what came out their generation. And I know that we do that too with
Mm-hmm.
our generation of music and things like that, except we go back, listen, study, and we still go forward and move on. We realize that hip hop has moved and progressed in a way where
Mm-hmm.
other things in hip hop can be acceptable. Other things in hip hop are done in a different way that some artists just can't do it. Let's be real, B.
Mm-hmm.
Rakim is one of the GOATs, correct?
Facts.
People would always say, "Oh, if Biggie was still rapping today, if Tupac was still rapping today, how will we know if they still rapping today?" Rakim came out with an album last year, and none of you Negroes talked about it.
B
Is he not a
the rock
legendary?
the rock Kim point. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you cook.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I hate to do this type of stuff. If Rakim passed away early, he will never leave the list. Now
Oh, of course.
Rakim leaves the list now. He's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he's not even in the top 10. He's not even in the
Uh-huh.
top five. He's not even in the list. And then
Mm-hmm.
we already have caveats of like we could put Black Thought in that list now because he has solo work, but you
Yes.
can't do Andre 3000 because he don't.
Mm-hmm.
Do would you we got more work from Andre in his group setting. Will you put what you see about a 3000 being in the list and not a Biggie and Tupac? You know, Tupac, we got solo work from both of these artists, but we don't have
Mm-hmm.
much from them. But from Andre, we got a whole bunch of stuff, but it's with Big Boy. But they won't put him in the list.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
I for me, because you know my list. I already told you before, B. Drake is in my top five all time.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's in my top five all time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these rappers in my top five all time that people will not like. But guess what? I told you I base it off of longevity,
Mm-hmm.
career, also ability as well. I have to knock Tupac and Biggie off. Very influential, very impactful. Never going to take that away. But we don't know what they would have done or if they even would have still been making music. And let's be real, B. A lot of the legends from back then, especially when they come on the more modern production, they sound a bit dusty. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying they wouldn't have acclimated. We don't know. But that's the problem. We don't know. I'm tired of these lists being based off of would have, could have, should have, the potential. Yeah, always look at the positive stuff. No, look at the negative stuff. Sometimes these rappers get dusty. Sometimes these rappers don't want to move with the time. Sometimes they pick bad beats, god dang it. Stop putting these
Yeah.
goddamn rappers in these lists. You don't know what they
And
would have
that's
done. You only want to think about the good dreams. No, think about the
and
nightmares. Think about the bad stuff.
I'm telling you, bro. I swear, I wish we got to see that, man. Because like, we don't want to see nobody die, especially the way they
Of
went
course
out.
not. Of
Like,
course not.
we want. I wish that we could have saw their careers flourish, and we could have, like I said, got the good and the bad, like musically, not just life stuff. But I don't know, man. It just I don't want to harp on it, but because I know once this clip go up, it might catch attention to some people. They're gonna get pissed off because they're not gonna. I don't know. Hopefully, they understand what we mean. But it's like you have to understand that, bro. The future is now, old man. Sometimes you got to move on, bro. The future is now, old man. And sometimes you got to leave that 1995, 1996. There's no way, bro. Sometimes you got to leave it to the past, bro.
B, people
And
think that there's no single better rapper than Biggie. B, this man only has two albums. You telling me he's done everything a rapper could possibly do on those two
Yeah,
albums?
that's what I'm
That
saying,
is
bro. He
insane to
haven't.
me, B. And Tupac, impactful, influential. He's not even a better rapper out of those two. And
No,
y'all
yeah, we
saying
know
that
that.
B, like I hate to say it like this. I'm putting Kendrick Lamar in that top five conversation all
Hmm.
time
Hmm.
over Biggie and Pac. He
Hmm.
obviously takes something from both, but I'm putting him over those two.
Yeah,
Phenomenal bodies of work, longevity, career. I got to put him in them lists. Even though he came up in my era, so I was going to put him in those lists either way.
regardless, yeah.
But see, there's other artists that I'll put in those lists that weren't from my era because they reigned during my era as well.
Hmm.
And they probably even kept going, like a Kanye, even though lyrically, yeah, and
Look,
lately,
but
yeah.
look what we got from Kanye. Picture if Kanye died after like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'm not trying to do these subject. I hate to do this, but I'm just saying
The
Kanye would be
hypotheticals.
looked at as a the hypotheticals. But like, look what freak if Kanye would have passed at My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. B. If
B,
we never got to all these
I'd be like the
antics,
old heads with Tupac and Biggie. I'm like, yo, ain't no one doing anything better than these.
that's why you got to look at it, bro. And I hate to do the hypothetical. I hate to kill people. I hate doing that, but I'm just trying to understand
But
that.
also,
I
we see the negatives of the what if. Like, what if this artist
hmm
keeps going? They start
yeah.
degrading their discography. Look at
Hmm.
Eminem. Eminem, prime
Look at him.
example. LL Cool J. B. Let's not be real. Last album he put out was
Yeah,
pretty good, but the
but
middle
look at the
2000
stuff.
money. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Sometimes they be thinking too positively about this stuff.
who was rapping at their best out of M and Biggie at their top of the game? All right, we can move on.
Oh gosh, you either go get smoked from the old heads or those Eminem stands. I'm not playing that game today,
Hey,
B.
hey, man, I'm just saying, bro.
Oh my god.
These are uncomfortable conversations some people don't want to have.
But see, these are the conversations I like to have, B. Put them in the goddamn space.
Hey,
These are conversations we need to be that need to be had. But
I know they're gonna
hopefully
be mad at
people are
us.
getting what we're saying and we're articulating it well. You gotta think
Yeah.
old heads. Y'all the people if Biggie and Tupac was y'all's generation, y'all gotta understand the way that y'all are attached to it, the way that other generations will be attached to those artists during their generations as well. That's the
Hmm.
main thing. And it's like people like of our age, younger, a little bit older, you ain't gotta hold on to those two just to like suffice someone else's criteria of like what your top five should be. Choose what artists you like.
Hmm.
There's enough artists that have enough longevity, career, and discography for you to be able to say, like, hey, these artists, top five all time.
Yes, sir.
Man, shout out to Beyond Beats and Culture